Right, everyone, welcome to the Shooting Lone Star with Ram from the Austin Gooners. Hey, bro, how are you?
What's up, bro? It's been good. Getting a lot of sun. Um Missing football, obviously. There was some international stuff going on, so that was kind of cool. Today was the first day where there was no games at all. So I'm kind of sad. I mean, there's Brazilian League, so I might watch some of that. MLS is still on international break, though they get back on Saturday this weekend. So yeah, just getting used to life without league football. Um, but time's going by quick. Once that stops, like we're already talking about transfers, and I believe training camp for Arsenal starts in like 9 or 10 days. So like things get moving. I know we have an early start to this year because of the World Cup. So um, it's like a welcome break, I guess. Yeah, still doing good. Like it's summer, it's hot. Spending a lot of time outdoors, so can't complain. How you doing, man?
Yeah, well, good. We're having
Yeah.
some really good weather here. So it's 27 degrees today. It's going to get up to 32 degrees by Friday, they're saying. So, yeah, enjoying the warm weather. Sometimes our summers are not as nice, but this year we're having a really good summer, not so much rain about, and a lot of sunshine, and like I say, high temperatures. So, yeah, enjoying that. And yeah, like you, though, missing football. As you said, there's been some international matches. We have got the Nations League going on, and yeah,
Yeah.
yesterday was a real embarrassment. That result we had against Hungary was a disgrace. I couldn't believe
Yeah.
watching like losing 4-0 at home to them. But I think just a lot of it is the players are really fatigued. It's been a long, for them now. It's a short break as well. You said the season's starting early next season, so they're not going to get much of a break. So I think a lot is just fatigue and that motivation is not there, and they're just looking forward to having a break now. So, hopefully Saka, who was playing yesterday, he gets a good rest now ahead of a new season because we're going to need him firing on all cylinders. So yeah, let's look ahead to next season and the transfer window. So first thing I wanted to ask you is, where do you think that we need to strengthen the team? Where for you are the priorities?
Um, Big priorities, I think. Well, we need a goal scorer. Like I was thinking about these questions when you posed them a few days ago. Um, and like the first thing that, or the the main point that really stuck in my head is we need some goal. We need goals, right? Like our bright spots were bright when we were scoring, and then we went through some dry spells. Mainly just because we didn't have that center forward or that striker that really could put the fear in opposing defenders. So once teams started figuring us out toward the end, we just became less dangerous, if you will. Now we have, guys like Saka, Smith Rowe, Martinelli who can threaten. We looks like we are going to end up being in Kedia. But I do think priority number one should probably be center forward striker, however we want to line it up or call it. Yeah, I'm hoping that's our number one priority. I hope we get like two players that can play in that position, or at least up top that's a real goal threat. Um, and then I think our second priority should be in the midfield. Um, and then third priority, not like it's not as important, but I would like to see us strengthen the depth in like our defending, like center back position, or the left back or right back. Any one of those four, like they're probably almost interchangeable sometimes. Like someone like Tomiyasu can play center and right or left. Like he's so like diverse in that respect. Um, I would like to see us get more players defend, just more depth. Like maybe not necessarily. Like I feel like in the like up top we need a big name. We need somebody who's gonna maybe cost a little bit more, and um yeah, we just need we need someone to like a headliner. Um, and then maybe in the midfield, someone maybe not as less dominant as of a name or whatever, but some like someone who could eventually take over like Granit Xhaka's spot, and then defense. I'm not worried about like a big name or any kind of anything like that. Like it would just be nice to have a squad player, like some squad players depth, just to kind of just to kind of ease that pressure that we're gonna have because someone like Tierney gets hurt a lot. Uh, Tomiyasu, I mean, in our 1 year with him, he's kind of missed a few games here and there. We don't know how confident Arteta is in someone like Tavares. Um, Ben White, Gabriel, good. Hopefully, we're bringing in Saliba back. Like I'm kind of excited about that. So, so yeah, like top ranks, I would rank them like striker, center forward, whatever, midfielder, and then defenders, and then the same ranking would be like I want a big name, and then like a medium name, and then like I don't even care who we get. Like we just need bodies. I feel like the defense. So yeah, that's where that would be my long answer.
Okay, and how many players do you think we need to bring in?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good question. Um, I would say someone like two strikers, maybe like a midfielder, and then like one defender. So maybe 4 players. If we pull in 4 players, I think that's a good off season or transfer window. Like I mean, last year I thought about it. Like we got 5. I think we brought in, and 3 of them were essentially like team changers. Like we had Ramsdale, Tomiyasu came in, started right away. Um, and who's the other one? Someone
Ben
like Ben
White,
White.
Ben White and Odegaard as well.
Oh, Odegaard, yeah, Odegaard. So yeah, so before we had 4 like immediately inserted into the starting lineup and had immediate impact basically. So we can get, and that was maybe out of 6. Okay, so then we got 6 signings, and 4 of them were impact right away. So if we get 4 or 5, and if like 3 of them are impact signings, I think that would be incredible. Like I think that'd be awesome. So hopefully that's what we see, right? That's kind of what I'm hoping
Yeah,
for.
yeah, hopefully it's a huge transfer window for us. Let's hope we can get the players in.
Mm,
Before I talk to you about the players we've been linked with, just wanted to ask you a little bit about some contract renewals. So
mm,
let's start with Saka. There's a lot of media talk, as I was saying to you earlier, that this time of year there's a lot of stuff put in the media, agents talking, and you can't believe half the stuff that you see and read. But there was talk about the likes of Liverpool and Man City are interested in Saka. We went in to sign a contract renewal. There's been talk about signing it with some sort of clause. They're thinking some of the things I'm reading are putting a clause in that if we're not qualified for Champions League within the next 2 to 3 years, that he can leave. So I just wanted to ask you your thoughts on Saka's contract situation and how confident are you that he will renew his contract?
yeah, I mean, for my first thought is like if um, if the big teams aren't taking note of our marquee players, that's a problem. And since they are, I think that's a good thing. That just shows like, hey, we got some big players on our squad that other teams want. That just shows, the good work in our academy and just they got good players, right? Like we're not a team full of scrubs or whatever. So in that respect, I think that's okay. Um, I think from what I've learned about like what's going on with or what goes on with agents and players, um, it's a lot of gray area, but in general, and I'm just kind of again generally speaking, a lot of times it's the agents that kind of take control over all that kind of stuff, and the player just is like basic wants, needs, or whatever that they communicate to their agent, and they say, "All right, you take care of it. I just want to play football," right? Like that's why they hire an agent. Um, so when I hear stuff about like Bukayo Saka, like I feel like he has just a really good agent, like someone who's going to advocate for him and make sure that he's getting the best deal for him. So I feel like Bukayo Saka, the player, the person, loves Arsenal, wants to stay here, um, but is gonna try and at least put himself in a position to get the most to max out as much as he can as far as like with any kind of renewal, or with that release clause of being able to kind of maybe leave in 2 or 3 years if things aren't happening. Um, and I'm also just not worried about like the likes of Man City and Liverpool, because I think if a player like him is going to leave to go to a team like that, he's not going to end up going there to start. They their depth is so ridiculous that he's going to go over there. Just kind of like Jack Grealish left Villa, and he ended up sitting on the bench for a while. All these players are different, but like from the way I see it is like, why would a player like Bukayo Saka leave a team where he's the man, where he gets to play every game, and then leave for another team where he might just languish on the bench for a little bit? Like it's a stacked team, so that factors in as well. So I think he will do some kind of re-sign with us, um, where there is maybe potentially some kind of release clause, and I think that would be fair. Like that puts the pressure on the team to qualify for Champions League, and um, I think that's the goal, right, for the team, is to qualify for Champions League, to fight for titles. So I'm not too worried about it. And if there's going to be any kind of release clause, I mean, if it's like $150 million or some shit like that, like, all right, put the price tag on there. Like, all right, you want to sign Bukayo Saka? There's a price for that. So, I was listening to another Arsenal podcast, and he wasn't like being negative or cynical, but he was just like, there's always other players, so like I kind of like that mentality to have. Like, look, I love these guys, but if they don't want to stay, and if they want to decide to eventually leave, like, cool, let's just make sure that we're not letting them go for free or for cheap. So I understand from the player's perspective, I totally get it, and the agents, like, I know what they're trying to do. I just kind of hope, moving forward, that with players like Bukayo Saka, with Smith Rowe, with Martinelli, like, we're also put in a position to where if we can't keep them, that we're gonna make from them. Because like, I don't like to see signing Lacazette, Aubameyang for 50-60 million dollars respectively, and then essentially just letting them both go for free. We're about to let Nketiah go for free. So that's again, I'm kind of trailing off and going off on other players, but like, I kind of like the idea of re-signing Nketiah, and then if it still doesn't work out, then maybe we can sell him and make some money off of it, versus just letting him eventually just go for free. So like, yeah, I want to keep Bukayo Saka, and I imagine that he wants to stay. But I do hope that our club is setting it up to where, like, we're going to make some money off of him if he decides to go, or if he decides that Arsenal's just not going to happen. But I think he wants to stay, and I think ultimately, like, I mean, we still got some time to convince him that this is the place for him.
Okay, sorry about that. All right. I just
No, that's good.
the camera. So I was filming before, so the battery died on it, and then I had to change.
Okay.
I had to change to the camera that's on the Mac. So yeah, it's not as good quality. But yeah, apologies for that. Yeah, so as you said, with Saka's situation, we know he loves us. We know that he wants to play at the highest level as well. So you can understand why he might want this sort of clause in there. I don't know what's going to happen with all of that, but we've got to match his ambition.
Yeah.
We will be able to convince him to sign the contract, and it's down to us to get the right players in, match his ambition, get him playing elite level Champions League football, and then he'll be happy. So yeah, let's hope he does sign that contract extension. Another player that is due to sign a contract extension, there's not been as much rumours about him being linked with other teams. We do know that Klopp's a big fan of his. He said Martinelli, remember the name. So he's another one we're hoping will sign that long-term contract extension. Are you confident he will?
Yeah, that's another one. And I don't want to like maybe beat a dead horse and keep talking, but I think with Martinelli, maybe it's not as advanced as someone like Saka. Like, Saka is obviously our best player, and he has potential to be like the best player in the Premier League, I think. So like all that stuff I was talking about, that kind of it's kind of a special case with Bukayo Saka. With Martinelli, we haven't seen him like elevate to that level. Not to say that he won't or that there's not that potential there. Um, I think it's going to be. I think if I were to compare the two, I think it's going to be slightly easier to keep Martinelli because again, I think he wants to be at the club. He wants to succeed here. So, and Bukayo Saka wants to also as well. But I think for him, I think in his case, we got slightly more leverage, and I think he will flourish. And I kind of hope, yeah, both of them are both. If we can't lock them down, at least make significant progress. It'd be nice to do that. So, um, yeah, I am pretty confident in both of them staying. I'm probably more so confident in Martinelli, but I don't know how to rank them. I don't know if I could put a percentage on them either. But yeah, I think they're gonna. I think we're still in good position to keep them.
Okay, and then Eddie Nketiah. So we know he's out of contract.
Yeah.
On him.
Yeah, I think it looks like we've convinced them to stay. I know even for a long time, like it was never about us not wanting to keep him. I think we even uh, made him an offer and he declined it. Arteta was always talking glowingly about him, saying, he's a great player, this and this, he works hard. And then also even listened to the Beautiful Game podcast, and they had a one-on-one with Eddie Nketiah. It was real personal. It was a really great interview to listen to, and his mentality, I like it. Like he just basically was like, I just want to see all my options and see what is all available for me as a player, as a professional, and then I'll make a decision. So that was it, because they asked him straight up, like, hey, Arsenal offered you a contract, you said no, like what's going on there? Like, do you want to leave the club? Do you love the club? What's going on? And he's like, yeah, like he goes, I love Arsenal, but I just want to see everything that I have. He goes, I just want to wait till the season's over and then see what's there for me so I can just make my decision. And so I think what I'm hoping is that he saw like, all right, maybe Arsenal is the best place for him ultimately. And if not, at least short term, right? Like at least maybe for the next year or so. Because I do know that he does want to get more playing time. And part of that is maybe on him too, like, hey, step up a little bit, show out and be like earn your playing time. A lot of that had to do with, we had Lacazette, we had Aubameyang. It's going to be hard to take away minutes from those two guys. Now those guys are gone. Even if we bring in 1-2 strikers, he could potentially still be like a big piece or a big piece of the puzzle. So I think yeah, look, it does look like that one's maybe a shoe-in. I think we are going to end up keeping him. Nothing's come out since all that, but I'd probably say, yeah, I think he ends up staying. And then who knows what happens. It depends on how this year turns out. We might end up potentially maybe the reason we extend him maybe 2-3 years is so that we have that leverage. So if it does come down to it and he wants to leave, we can sell him for more than what obviously getting for free, like giving him away for free or letting him go for free. Like we can at least make some money off of his name or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. The amount of players we've lost,
Yeah.
like running down their contracts and stuff. So it would be good if we can get him tied down. So for me, I don't think he's at the level that we need as a striker, but he's a good squad player to have. And then if the things don't work out, but he's got room for improvement as well. That's one important thing to say as well. But he's still young, so he could improve. But if he doesn't, then having him tied down to that contract means that next summer he doesn't play so well, then we can sell him and make some money. So let's see how he goes next season. And then there's the tricky one to talk about now, which is William Saliba. So don't know what's going to happen with him. We want him back, but he's only got 2 years left on his contract. So looking like he's going to be a really good player. Like he's already showing glimpses of how good he is in the French league. He's got into the French national squad as well now. And we're looking forward to having him back here. But the situation is a bit tricky because if he doesn't sign a contract extension now, then next summer he would only have 1 year left on his contract. It means he could run his contract right down, or next summer, if we were to try to sell him, we wouldn't get as much money for him. What's your thoughts on the situation with him?
Yeah, so I actually watched a few Marseille games with him because they got him and then Matteo Guendouzi, and Guendouzi's always been like a sort of an intriguing player for me. He was my fun fact, like my first ever Arsenal match at the Tavern with the Austin Gooners. He was the starting midfielder, like, and like his hair, like it just caught my eye, and I was like, this player is I like this guy. So I kind of watched Marseille because he's been there for a while too, and so like I like to watch Marseille for those guys. But yeah, Saliba is the real deal, and I mean, he wouldn't have got the kind of playing time he would have gotten at Marseille if he stayed at Arsenal, right? Because we got Ben White, we had Gabriel, and they're a little bit older, more grown men. And I think with Saliba, I mean, he's still 20 years old, right? He's still a young guy. He would have been younger starting in the Premier League, and I don't think he would have held up as center back in the Premier League. Like, no. I mean, could you imagine him trying to go against like Lukaku? Like he would have looked exactly like how Paulo Mati looked, man. Just got ran down. But anyway, yeah, I'm trailing off. But yeah, I think, as you said, it's going to be a very, very interesting time frame moving forward because, like, we do got Ben White, we do got Gabriel, both are stellar, and Saliba is on the French national team. He wants to play in the World Cup, and a lot of that is going to hinge on getting playing time. Like I don't imagine national team coaches bringing on players, especially in the situation that we're going to be in next season, like bringing on players who haven't been getting regular playing time, because you're not going to have that same amount of buildup, where you might get one or two friendlies. If the World Cup was being held in the summer, you're going to get like, yeah, one or two friendlies, maybe three, and then boom, you're in the World Cup. Here, it's just going to be like season ends or season goes on pause, players meet, and then boom, World Cup starts. You're not going to really get that. So you want to have players like in a good groove. Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to keep him. And I think he's going to have to just fight for his spots. And I think he's going to perform well enough that, I mean, ultimately, like, I think we want to do rotation. Like, I don't know if this quote is actually directly from Mikel Arteta, but I've heard it attributed to him saying like he wants to be basically too deep at every position. So having two players who are good enough to start at every position on the pitch. So like if we still have Rob Holding, he may not necessarily be like a starting quality player, but he's a good backup. Saliba might fit into that category of like the too deep. So there's Gabriel and Ben White, and then or Gabriel and Saliba, if you will, and then Ben White and Holding. So yeah, I think he fits into the plans, and I think he's going to get game time, and hopefully he prospers, and maybe he ends up taking the spot and ending up being the regular starter, at least for the time, for a little bit, because that's only going to make our team better. And I think it's a little bit of a trickier situation with him, but I'm confident that we can keep him. But I also wouldn't be surprised if he ends up maybe not wanting to be here anymore, and then we might have to end up selling him for hopefully not that much less than what we paid for him. I think we paid like 28 million for him. So hopefully we can get something from that. But yeah, it's a tricky situation. But I do like him as a player, and I think he will make our squad better. Not just in the training side and making the starters better, but I think he is good enough to take over the starting position. Maybe not permanently, but at least for a good stretch. So we'll see, man. I don't know. But I'm hopeful. I'm hoping against hope that he comes back to Arsenal, likes it, extends. But again, if not, like we can't keep every player. I just hope we can not get scammed out of, or not scammed, but not get taken for someone like him because he's going to be a good player. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out because, as you
Mhm.
said, he's going to want playing time, but Arteta can't guarantee him that playing time, especially as
Yeah.
we know Ben White and Gabriel were so solid together last season. So, what does Arteta do? Could lie to him, maybe say, yeah, no, you're going to get lots of playing time. I don't know. Maybe like if he is to sign a new contract extension, he might say, I want a guaranteed certain amount of appearances or I'm allowed to leave. I don't know behind the scenes. We don't know how this negotiation stuff goes on. So it's
Mhm.
difficult. But another option Arteta's got is to say, look, I'm going to go three at the back, so you're going to definitely be getting playing time because three at the back it'll be you alongside Ben White and Gabriel. That's another option. Another thing as well is that we do have a Europa League, so we've got more games. We've got the League Cup, the FA Cup. So he's got to say to him, okay, I can't guarantee you're going to start, but you're going to get playing time. If you do well, then you can make that place your own. It's going to come down to you as well as a player. But can you come
Yeah.
in, step in, and nail down that place? So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I think the way it's going to be is that he's going to hold on. He's not going to sign the contract this summer. He's going to want to see how this season goes. And us as a club, I don't see us selling him now if he doesn't sign the contract. I think we would wait and hope that he has a good season, he's happy, and then next season he'll renew the contract. But ideal scenario is if we could get him to renew the contract this summer, that would be amazing. But
Hmm.
I don't see that happening. But yeah, let's see. So yeah, now let's get into the transfer rumors. So
Hmm.
as you mentioned, strikers are a priority. We're being strongly linked with a couple of players, Gabriel Jesus and Rickarlson, both very good strikers. If you had a choice between picking one of them, I ideally would want both, but I'm not sure we're going to get both in. But yeah, if you had a choice between picking between one of them, who would you go for?
Um, I think the home run, to use a baseball term, but like the just knock it out the park, the one that's gonna just show everyone that hey, we are being serious about our ambitions is if we get Gabriel Jesus. Um, not necessarily just because he's a striker that can score goals and like he's good, but he has that pedigree. Like he knows how to win. He knows how to conduct himself as a professional. And part of the plan, as we've seen, has been to fill our ranks with young players and that are going to improve and just kind of grow with the squad as we get better. Um, so I think we're good on the youth side. Like we got plenty of youth. Um, I think we need to start getting players who are still reaching their peak, and at the same time like know how to win, or reaching their peak, knowing how to win, and still in their prime or whatever. And I think Gabriel Jesus like fits that mold or that description perfectly, right? Like he's been there, he's done that, he knows what it takes to play in the Champions League, to win the Premier League, like to have that mentality, like to show up and perform week in and week out. And then also to know your role too, because he didn't necessarily start every game, but when he goes in, like holy shit, like Gabriel Jesus is coming into the game, like fuck, we can't. There's no letdown from starter to backup. You know what I mean? Everybody, like, as much as I might talk shit about Manchester City, like everybody on that team knows their role. Like Zinchenko, for example, like that guy is a starter at any other club. He's he was killing it for Ukraine. Like he was doing really good um in their games. Like he was a star. And it just shows like, oh shit, like I remember watching him play against Scotland and thinking like, God, this guy is just so like he's head and shoulders the best player on the field for both teams. And I was like, it's got to be because he just knows what he's like. He just knows how to be a professional and knows how. And then he plays midfielder for them, but for City he plays at left back or something like that. So like everybody on that team accepts their role and then just does it great. They're like the New England Patriots and American football. Like there's no egos on that team. So I would like to see like how I think the running joke is we like to pluck players from like Chelsea, like David Luiz and Willian and or whoever, but like if we're gonna be plucking players, like we gotta pluck them from like the Liverpools and the Man Cities, at least for now, as we're trying to build our base, right? Like, and that would be, I think that would be a perfect player to bring in just because he knows what, I mean, he's what we want our team to be. Like, he's been a part of it. Richarlison, I like him as a player, and as you said, I would love to have both. Um, and I think when we saw Everton fighting relegation, you saw like him playing at his not at maybe not necessarily at his best, but he was playing his ass off. He knows how to. I mean, he's Brazilian as well. Like those guys, we all know how like the pedigree that Brazilians come with. So it'd be nice to get both. But if I had to pick one, I'm picking Gabriel Jesus easily. Um, I'm not necessarily as excited about Richarlison, but it'd be cool. Be nice. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
he'd be
maybe
cheap. He'd be cheap because Everton's like desperate, I think, to maybe just try and like I don't know, get above the red. I don't know.
yeah, it'd be amazing if we could get both. In terms of the price of Jesus, though, so we know he's only got 1 year left on his contract. How much do you think? Because we know City are going to try and get as much money from him as they can. So it's going to be a difficult negotiation for us. But
Yeah,
how much is the max that you think it's worth us paying for him?
I know they were asking for like 60 million, but I bet like that's not gonna happen. So I bet maybe something like 45 or something. Like that'd be fair, I think, especially for a player of his caliber, his age, you know, um, pedigree, obviously, yes, like and the fact that he scores goals, and I think that's what we need. And that's the shiny position, right? I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, we paid 50 for Ben White from Brighton. Um, I mean, obviously Ben White turned out to be pretty solid, and I think over time we're going to be like that was money well spent. But yeah, so I'm not saying like it should be proportional, but I think if we got to pay 45, 50 million, like shit. I even thought like fuck 60 million, like okay, that's kind of high, but I mean we need a goal scorer. Like let's get him. Like fuck it. I mean let's try and negotiate a cheaper price, but let's get the guy. Like come on. Like as soon as I heard his name, I was just like I'm sold. Like I don't even care. Like just bring someone like him in, and for me it was just everything else. Like not even thinking about. And then I'm reading about him and just like seeing how smart he is as a player, and he's the kind of like he's a Mikel Arteta guy. Like they've known each other from their City days, so I'm like, just bring him in, man. Bring him in because he's only gonna give Arteta more credibility in that dressing room. Not that he doesn't have it, but like it's only gonna make the team better. So I think it's not saying it's priceless, but let's spend money, man. Like I mean that we've all said it, right? Like got to spend money to make money, like to make money or to make trophies. Um, let's get the guy, but like yeah, let's not overpay as well. So I don't think it's gonna be for 60. I think it'll turn out to be much cheaper.
Yeah, hopefully. But as you said, you sometimes, especially the way the current transfer market is, you end up having to
Yeah.
pay over what the value of a player is. You got to do it. At the end of the day, we want to improve the team. So if you got to spend that extra 10, 15 million, whatever it is, you got to do it. And we are going to be selling some players in this transfer window. So if you've got to spend a bit of extra money, it has to be done. There's no excuse. If a board turn around or the owners say, no, it must be at 50. If it goes to 60, we're not paying that. For me, that's ridiculous. We have to improve the team. And if you need to go over what your budget is, you've got to do it. There's just no way around making any excuses saying, no, this is the budget, we've got to stick to it. There's ways that you can raise the funds. Like I say, there's going to be funds coming in from us selling some players, but even if not, we're getting too much from selling players and we're having to go over our transfer budget. I'm sure there's reserve money there. We know our owners sitting there in America where you are now have got a lot of money. So
Yes.
they need to dip into their pockets a little bit to help out the situation, then they need to do it. And there should be no excuses. Got to spend big. That's the way the transfer market is. We just seen yesterday, Liverpool paid 85 million for a player that is not, you would say, super well known or like one of the hottest properties in Europe right now. Like I've not seen much of him. I hear good things about him, but they're paying 85 million for him. So with Jesus, he's proven in the Premier League. We know he's a very good player. He's going to add to our team. If you got to pay that 60 million, go pay the 60 million.
Yeah, man. Like, let's do it. Like, come on.
Exactly. But if they don't do it, you need to go find them and say, what's going on? Like,
yeah, no kidding, man.
Go travel up to where they are and say, listen, what's going on? You need to spend that money.
Exactly, man.
Okay. So let's look at the midfield now. So we've been linked with Tielemans strongly. He's another player that's only got 1 year left on his contract. Him?
I like him. Like, so he's I think the biggest I guess asset, or the biggest thing he would bring for us as a player would be like that goal threat. I know he scored goals against us a few games when we played Leicester. And we certainly need that. Like, obviously we need the striker to be like the main goal threat, but you know, it's not going to hurt if our midfielders are going to be included in that threat. And Granit Xhaka, although I love the guy and he's a great leader on the field and this, like, you know, no one's checking for him during our attacking phase, right? Same thing with like Thomas Partey. Like, he's not necessarily going to be banging in goals unless we're doing corner kicks or set pieces or things like that, you know. So Yuri Tielemans is somebody who could, I guess, just be that extra attacker in the middle, which I think we desperately need as well. Like we need to have players who are kind of hungry to score goals and to be that kind of threat. And I would be happy with someone like him. And so I'm happy, like, again, not necessarily like a blockbuster player, but I think somebody who could end up making a name for himself scoring goals for Arsenal if that's the case, you know. So I'm all for it. Like I said, I'm all for. I'm in this phase where I'm just kind of like, and this is kind of like me with my team sometimes, is like, just bring people in. Like, I don't even care if they're great, as long as there's like some, as long as, because I know like a team like Arsenal is going to do their due diligence and bring in players that they see, especially now. Like, I feel like we've definitely moved on from like the Arsene Wenger days. Well, you know, all the stuff I hear about that. I didn't experience it firsthand, but I feel like we're kind of not that team anymore. And we've certainly gotten away from the Unai Emery type of, you know, bringing in players, like what the kind of players he brought in. So, you know, I kind of like what we're doing, especially with the players that we did bring in and these past few windows. And so like yeah, I think we just gotta continue to put our trust in them. So if like Yuri Tielemans is the first name that comes up, and if he's the only one name that kind of sticks around, like the more I hear it and the more I read about it, I like it. Like, I want someone like him. And I don't know, somebody maybe we might have looked over. I don't know if you're gonna bring him up, but Rafinha from Leeds United is another player that's kind of most recently, I don't know if you followed, that started to get like some news around him. Like, us and Spurs are kind of going after him, but I think we're a little bit more attractive for him. So I would be happy with him too. He's a forward, like, who plays in maybe like Bukayo Saka's position. But then that goes to my thought, like, Arteta wants too deep at every position, and we don't have too deep in Saka's position. That's why he played 38 games this year. Like, I think an ideal situation is like, you know, playing Bukayo Saka like 20, 25 Premier League games, and then maybe mixing him into the other competitions. But I'm pretty certain that our Arteta wants to not play him every single game. And to have someone like Rafinha would be kind of awesome too. I know that it just came out, so I don't even know how real that is, but yeah, I was excited when I recently saw his name in the rumor mill, and it seems to like be picking up steam.
Yeah, he's a good player. And as you're saying, ideally, we've seen it with like some Man City and Liverpool. You want two players for each position.
Yeah.
I remember watching them, and you just see who's on their substitutes bench, and they're just the way they can rotate their team, and they take a couple of players out. The players that come in are just similar caliber. That's the kind of thing we need. There's another player we've been linked with in the midfield positions who would be a great addition. I don't think it's very likely.
Mm-hmm.
He's our former player, really good winger, can play up front as well as a striker as well. Is Sergio Gnabry
Oh yeah.
one?
I I know about him. I watch a little Bundesliga because of Dortmund um, and Freiburg. Um, I mean, my only thought with him, I think he would maybe be out of our realm in terms of being able to afford him. Uh, I don't know if you outside of maybe the sentimental value of coming back to his English club. I don't know if you maybe want to come back and play for us. I mean, he's been at Bayern all those years. Like, he seems to me like one of those players that would only end up like at Barcelona or at Madrid or maybe like a Man City or something. Although, like, maybe not Man City, but like just one of those big clubs, like PSG maybe or something like that. Like, I don't know if we're at that realm where we can pull a player like him without like it costing us a bunch. So yeah, I don't know how likely that is. That one I haven't paid too much attention. I feel like our best bet is to pull in players that are like on the rise versus someone like Gnarby who's like that's a name I know and I haven't even seen him play and I know he's good. Like, I haven't seen him play a lot and I know he's a star. So
Yeah,
be
he's done
nice.
so well with Bayern Munich, and he would definitely add experience now, which is something that we definitely need. He would help to improve the likes of Martinelli and Saka, competing with them for that spot on the wing. I mean, like we say, having two players of real high caliber for each positions where we're striving to get to. So it'll be a dream signing for us, but it is really unlikely. I think as well for him as a player, he'll be looking at it. There's no Champions League football he played for us. Obviously he like the sentiment of it of coming back to play for us, but we're not able to offer him Champions League. We're not realistically able to offer him a chance at the moment, you would say, to win the Premier League as well. So it'd be difficult for us to convince him to come. But if we could, that would be some amazing transfer
Yeah.
for us. Another player we've been linked with in midfield. Well, I say midfield. Man City play him as a left back, but I think his preferred position and the position he plays for Ukraine, as you mentioned earlier, one of the better players in the game. You saw him play against Scotland. He is a really good player. Shows you how good Man City are when like he's just like a fringe player, you would say, for them. He comes in, fills in at left back, which Pep converted him into, but his preferred position is centre midfield. So if he was to come to us, Arteta would have to say to him, yeah, you would be playing in your preferred position, which is centre midfield. But yeah, Shevchenko.
Zinchenko, yeah.
Yeah, we linked to him as well. Your thoughts?
Uh, yeah, that would be really cool. I didn't even know like that was like a name that popped up in like as a potential spot for Arsenal. Yeah, he's the right age too. I just pulled him up, 25 years old. Like, he would definitely command more playing time, I think, here. I think he's would maybe put, Granit Xhaka on the back burner a little bit and potentially, man, imagine like someone like him and with Odegaard and Thomas, like that would be amazing. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I would again, he's a Man City player. I'm all about the pedigree, I think, especially at this stage of the Arsenal project. Um, yeah, I think the idea that like we can bring in somebody who's of the right age, who still like hasn't reached his potential, um, and has that pedigree and knows how to win and knows how to conduct themselves and play in and week out. But and yeah, and then watching him play against Scotland for that, unfortunately they didn't win. Or wait, did Ukraine win? I can't even remember. Oh, they won, but then Wales won. Yeah, so yeah, so they're not gonna get to go to the World Cup, but like man, he was the one player that was just shining above everybody else. And even yeah, and the commentator was like, yeah, he plays for Man City. Like this guy knows, he's kind of like upped his game and to the point where he's just a one guy best player on both teams. Um, yeah, and a midfielder who was making so many threats to score goals, like that would be great. Um, I think we do need somebody in the midfield who's going to be a goal scoring threat because someone like Thomas isn't. He's a little bit more defensive, and I think that's good too. And I find that right balance, find somebody else along with Odegaard who can who can be the midfield guy to kind of get the ball back from the defenders and then still push it forward, but then also be a threat to score. Um, yeah, that'd be great if we can get some kind of attacking threat on on the midfielder. So Zinchenko, that's new to me, but that would be great. Guess if I had to make a choice, maybe pick. I'd probably pick Zinchenko. I think ultimately, I'd be happy if we just got Man City players and just added them and made them Arsenal guys and brought their winning ways to our team.
Yeah, like if we could get 3 or 4 of their players, that would definitely help us.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Okay, so yeah, now in defence, we've been linked with Hickey, Scottish player. That'd be a good link up for us with Teeny. Hopefully, he can
Mhm.
learn from Teeny, be a good backup option for Teeny as well. Another good thing with him is that he's able to play on both flanks, right back or left back. So, would be a good buy. Your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I think yeah, if he's able to play on the right and left side, that again gives us that depth. He's young, he's like 19. Um, yeah, and then we'll kind of see what's going on with Tavares. I think Tavares is going to get the bulk of like the cup games, maybe some Europa League games, and we'll kind of. I mean, I know he's been linked with like a loan, like to go out on loan to get more game time, and I think that probably is going to end up maybe waiting until like the January transfer window. We'll see how he does the first part of the season. But I think it's a good. It's going to be like crunch time for him to prove himself. But I think someone like Aaron Hickey can push him, and then also provide that if we do indeed decide to like send Tavares on, or that might make it an easier decision to kind of say, all right, we need to get you out on loan, need you to get you some game time, and then someone like Hickey can be like the guy providing depth on both sides. And again, as I said, like my desire, at least for the defense, is to see us bring in guys who can just be there to be a squad player to provide depth when they need to be replaced. Because I mean, those guys, our defenders are box to box kind of guys. Like Tierney, Tierney, is busting in crosses and doing all that kind of stuff too, and then running all the way back and playing defense. So um, yeah, it'd be nice to just have more depth in that position to just protect them. Tomiyasu doesn't do it as much, but I see him kind of doing it here and there. Um, so it kind of I guess it just gives us more cover. I wouldn't mind seeing someone like him. Uh, funny thing, I talked to a buddy of mine and like at the pub, and he's from England actually. And he was just like, I have no idea about this Hickey guy. And I told him the only thing I know about Hickey is that I scouted him and recruited him on FIFA, like as of the game manager. Like I play the franchise mode where you can be the manager. And Hickey came up, and I'm like, oh, this guy looks pretty good. I'll sign him. And like I like to use him as a player. So like when the name popped up, I was like, ooh, I remember that guy. So I mean, and under his name, it was like potential for something special. So I don't know. Obviously, I don't know like how accurate these FIFA things are or the video games are, but like that player is some that is attracting attention. And I do have like defenders from Italy, like, and I watch a little, very little bit of like Italian Serie A football, and it's a very defensive league. So like defenders are a little bit more scrappier in that league. So the right one, I mean, we might have seen it with Tomiyasu, right? Like the right ones you into the Premier League and they can do well because they love playing defense because that's what they do in Italy. So yeah, I'd be all for it, 100%.
Okay, so you linked with quite a few players. We haven't got any business done yet.
Yeah.
It's still early in the transfer window, but it's really important. We always hope that we get the signings in early. As a club, we always tend to leave it late. I'm hoping we're learning from our mistakes. We had such a bad start to last season. Losing them first 3 games was really unorganized, and we need to get the business done early. Then we can integrate the players into the team during the preseason, getting playing the preseason games, getting comfortable, working on tactics, and getting adjusted to playing as with their new teammates. So I'm hoping this will be the summer that we do start getting some business done early. It's going to be so important that we do.
I agree, man. I did read a report having to do with might have been Tielemans that says that I don't know who set maybe it's the agents, maybe it's the teams or whatever, but like someone set like the deadline to be like at the end of the month. So for me that's good. Like let's say it just falls through, like at least we know that it's not going to happen instead of like being teased for 60 days. I think we should start like definitely move on from A, giving players away on free transfers, and then also B, like let's get our business done early and let's like make it happen. Not have that reputation of being just like indecisive. Like let's make the choice of the player we want, let's make it happen, and put the onus on the other parties to be like, look, why isn't this not happening? Instead of just kind of like waiting for the last minute. I think I just recall like Tomiyasu taking it looked like he was at a hospital, right? Like he took the Arsenal photo at a hospital, probably where he was getting his physical, and then or his team physical or whatever, put the shirt on, says, "Hey, I'm with Arsenal," and then like 3 or 4 days later, he's starting for us. I don't think that's the norm. Like obviously, we need players take time to get into the into into the team and get integrated and learn the system. So it'd be nice to just get it done and let's get going. Let's bring them in so that we can see what they look like, when they play their games in America against Everton, against Orlando City, and I think we play some other team. But like, let's see them play some real football, in the summer, and not just hope to God that we can bring them in time to integrate them. Because yeah, everything's on an earlier time frame. So like, hopefully, we're just pushing it a little bit harder. So I'd be happy to see them, like hopefully by the end of the month, at least seeing 1 or 2 guys signed, sealed, and delivered, and showing up to London ready to go.
Yeah, let's hope so, bro. So just to finish
Mhm.
this week's show, it's going to
Mhm.
ask you for your minimum expectations for next season.
Minimum. That's easy, man. Everything I've said, like we gotta secure folks like Bukayo Saka, William Saliba, Gabriel Martinelli. They're all young players with ambition. Um, we want to bring in players of quality and prestige moving forward. It hurt us that we didn't get into Champions League because I feel like Champions League would have gotten us maybe 1 or 2 marquee players, and then maybe if we were in Champions League, this Gabriel deal would have been sealed right away. Um, who knows, right? Whatever. But we can also set our sights on bigger players. Not to say that Gabriel Jesus and the players that we're linked with aren't big players, but the superstars. Maybe we could have had our name in the hat for a Darwin Nunez or Erling Haaland, like moving forward. So I think minimum is Champions League, whether it's by winning the Europa or top four. Like we got to get Champions League. Um, I think our expectation this year was Europa League, and it was like Europa League. We got to get it, and it's nice if we get Champions League. And then obviously that thing got adjusted, and that expectation got adjusted as we rose up the tables and competed a little bit more. And then obviously, we all got left with that disappointment for not getting Champions League. But I also like to just kind of remind people sometimes, and just remind myself, like that's not what we were hoping for in the beginning, right? Like we're just like, let's just get back into Europe. Now I think with the expectations are raised, across the board, I think it's got to be Champions League or nothing at this point. I think we can put ourselves in a position with a few signings to get our to get in position to compete for even something like third place, second place, you know? Because I think we also got to keep in mind all this talk about transfer windows and this, like what players are going to bring in to make the squad better. Like the guys that we have are getting better. Like Bukayo Saka is going to get better. Martinelli, Odegaard, uh, Aaron Ramsdale, Gabriel, Ben White, everybody from top to bottom, even like Thomas Partey is going to get better. Like, although he's maybe a little bit older, right? But like, so we might see already what we going to get from him. But Eddie Nketiah, we get to keep him. Like, the expectations are going to raise. Like, our guys are young, they're still like developing. And everybody on our team is going to raise their level because they know they've experienced that taste of seeing the top of the mountain, if you will, and then experience the disappointment and missing it. So that's got to just kind of elevate it. And you know, if we have the players that we think we have, like they're gonna have to like step up. And so I think Champions League, third place, maybe second place would be great. At second place, if like a team like Man City or Liverpool is just running away with the league. I don't think we're there to where we're going to compete to win the league, but we got to be up there, like looking at teams in fourth and fifth, like, oh, you're not at our level right now, or fifth place, excuse me, like fifth and sixth, like we're not there. I don't think United is going to be up there as well. Like I think they're going to maybe struggle. I don't think a team like Newcastle United is going to all of a sudden start, you know, competing for top four. Although, you know, I could be wrong, but like I still think our window is there to kind of cement ourselves as a Champions League club again, and eventually, boom, next step is competing for titles. So there it is, man. Champions League or bust. It has to be, man. Right? Like that's what that's the club we are, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's now about the next step. So we've seen this season we've progressed. Sorry, last season now. We've seen that last season we've progressed. Next step has to be top four. You know, and then after that, they say after that, the next step after that will be to challenge for the title. It's all going to come down to how we invest in this summer transfer window. As you said, though, very important, though, the players that we do have are only going to get better. Arteta as a manager as well, he's still learning them the job. The players, young squad, they're still learning them the job. So there's a lot of room for improvement with what we already have. But we need to add in that squad depth and add in experience, as well as the positions we know that we're lacking in. We all know strikers a must, you know, but if we can add in around 5-6 players, improve the experience and squad depth in the squad, along with what we already have, a really good young team, and I can see the future being really bright for us. And this is now about Arteta and that young squad taking it to the next level and securing Champions League next year. It'd be nice as well if we could add a trophy, whether it's FA Cup, League Cup. Europa League would be perfect because that guarantees to have Champions League football. But yeah, let's see. I mean, really interested to see how this summer transfer window goes. It's a big one for us, a really, really big one. And I'm hoping our owners really back Arteta. They've backed him with his contract extension, so now it's time that they back him in the transfer window. And let's hope they do.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's exciting. So hopefully we make it happen.
Yeah, bro. So getting closer now to the start of the preseason. We're mid-June now, so not long ago, as you're saying, pre-season training camp is going to be starting soon. And then, yeah, first game early July. Got quite a few friendlies throughout July. Season gets underway early as well. First weekend of August. 5th of August is the first weekend because of the World Cup starting earlier. So looking forward to having the games back on to watch. Looking forward to speaking to you through next season. And let's hope it's going to be a really successful season. And yeah, hopefully when we do our next show, we've signed a player.
Yeah, man.
At least one.
Hopefully let's get one player in, and then I think the floodgates will open. Because yeah, I remember last summer, man, it was like, um, yeah, what's going on? We're not going to sign anybody, and then all of a sudden we ended up with six. So gotta have patience. Obviously, it's hard to say. It's easier said than done, but let's get it going.
Yeah, just got to give a mention as well for the player that we did sign yesterday. It's not going to make an immediate impact. Marquinhos, young player from Brazil. The main thing that has come out of that situation is that we've actually built up this link now with Sao Paulo where we'll get first tabs on the talent they have coming through. So we could have some really good Brazilian players coming through to us. Hopefully, the one we signed yesterday, Marquinhos, is one of them. I don't know much about him. Hopefully, he's the next Neymar or Ronaldinho. As I was saying to you yesterday when we were speaking on WhatsApp, hopefully he'll be
Yeah.
that caliber of a player. But yeah, it's good to see that Edu, he's using some of his influence back in Brazil to help us.
Mm. Yeah. I don't know much about him. Uh, as you said, I think that strengthens our relationship with Brazilian talent. We all know how like the type of pedigree Brazilian talent has. Um, their best players end up in Europe, all across, all across the continent, really. Um, and he's kind of labeled as a prospect, so I don't think he's gonna potentially battle for like starting game time. Maybe he's still gonna. I don't know if he's gonna be one of those players we just sign and then send out on loan somewhere to keep building. So I don't know exactly where what's gonna happen there, but I think it kind of like the way I think about Man City players right now. Like if you play for Man City, come bring it on. Same thing as I feel about that with Brazilian players. Like it's kind of hard to fail, or like to miss with a Brazilian unless like you're Willian and Pastor Hill. But like young Brazilian talent, like for 3.5 mil, I'm not mad about it. We'll see what happens, but yeah, we'll see. At least we signed somebody, right? Like we got that. Maybe that's it right there. That's the first player we signed. We got it going. The rest of it is gonna just kind of fall into place. I don't think like there's some I was reading the comments on Instagram and all this stuff and they were a bit hysterical, man, and I just wanted to be like, you gotta relax, man. Like it's a $3.5 million signing. He's 19, it's a prospect. Like folks were already just losing it. Like, come on, man. Like not every player is gonna be the marquee signing. Like obviously we need the marquee guys, but that's going to take a while. It's going to be hard to do. I think the easier ones are going to be the squad players or the prospects. Like we got to continue to build for the future too, as well as trying to win now. But we can't just get into this like big name players or it's a bust. Like let's relax, because I think that's what got us into the mess of signing strikers like Lacazette, Aubameyang. Yeah, like big names, big money. I'm sure people were excited when it happened, but what happened when it how did it end, right? So it's not just about getting the big names just because they cost a lot. So it's weird. I don't get banters sometimes, man, because they'll talk to us and be like, you guys spent the most money, 150 million for what? And I'm like 4 starters. Like that's really good money well spent if you got 4 starters when teams like Liverpool are paying 100 million guys for $100 million for a striker. Like if we spend 150 million in one summer and ended up with 4 guys who immediately started most of the games, like that's money well spent just off of that alone. Like never mind the length of the contract. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes it's about finding them hidden gems as well. You always got to look for the future as well, and it comes down to the scouting. So hopefully
Yeah.
our scouting is getting better. We've seen Liverpool has done a great job with their scouting in recent times. So far scouting is improving. Edu and the whole team that work with him on the scouting are finding us the players that we need, not just for the immediate future, but for the long term as well. And yeah, this relationship they built up now with Sao Paulo will help us in that regard. So that's some good news. And yeah, let's hope by the time I see you on our next show, we're talking about a new signing. So that's all from us. Thanks, bro.
Take it easy, man.
Thanks everyone for watching. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share.